Hey guys, thanks for clicking on the video. Today is July 26th, 2024, and so we got a quick little update and then we will go into today's topic of the day. We are about 2 weeks out from starting school again. We are about 2.5 weeks out from the scuba trip that's upcoming, so I'm getting pretty excited about that. Speaking of scuba, today's video talks about the pros and cons, the good and the bad of scuba diving. Maybe some of you have considered it once. Maybe you've thought about it, what it would be like, or what's the good and the bad of scuba diving. Well, that's what today's video is all about. At the end of the video, I'm going to give you my main reason for scuba diving, the biggest pro that there is for scuba diving. So we're going to go con, then a pro, and so on and so forth down the road. I got 3 each that we're going to be talking about. All right, so let's start with probably the number 3 con, the third problem with scuba diving. And that has to do with cancellations from the dive clubs, from the dive centers, I should say. Here in Louisiana, I can't just go and scuba dive. Our waters are very, very murky, very muddy. Visibility is pretty much, there is none. For us to scuba dive here in Louisiana, I would probably have to go out to the oil rigs, which presents all kinds of issues and so on. And to be completely honest and frank with you, I don't think that my scuba diving experience is ready for that just yet. Perhaps down the road. So you call the dive center and you dive shop. For me, it's been pretty much predominantly Florida. There's a couple of clubs that I've used in Florida, the main one being Diver's Den, really good dive club. That's the one that got me certified with all of my certifications, and they're really a good group of people, and I really appreciate them. But anyway, you call them, or you go on their website and you book a dive, and then you have to, of course, book a hotel room, okay, which could be a night or two depending on the circumstances. And of course, all that costs money, which is another con we're going to get to in just a minute. So you book your dive, you book the hotel, and you get ready to roll. And then sometimes as late as the night before or sometimes the day of the dive, you'll get a phone call. Usually it's from the boat captain or someone close to the boat captain or the dive master, and they will tell you, hey, the weather's not cooperating, it's windy conditions, it's stormy conditions, and we've got to cancel the dive. And of course they give you a full refund, okay, which is good. But there goes your dive. And there's no one to blame. It's just, Mother Nature, so to speak. It's just the weather, what you're going to do. So that's a big bummer. That can be a real, that can really get you upset, when you're really all excited about getting a dive in and then it gets canceled. Which brings me to the first pro, the first positive thing about scuba diving that I want to talk about. And all these, of course, are in my opinion. The relationships you build. There are some guys down there in Florida, one of the dive masters and the boat captain, that know we're on a first name basis. They know me quite well. I know them quite well. And anytime I go down there to dive, it's like seeing a friend. It's like seeing a buddy again. And I've had tremendous dives there, and I plan on having more dives with them very soon. So you have relationships. Hopefully you have someone that you can dive with, whether it be a spouse, a friend, a family member, somebody, a cousin, whatever, that you can dive with. That's your best case scenario. And I am in the process of convincing my son, my youngest son, Zach, to take up and get certified so him and I can go scuba diving in the future. And we're talking about that now. But I recently went to Hawaii, once in a lifetime trip, and me and my buddy, I think I got a picture of that, me and my buddy that I've known for a very, very long time, him and I were certified and so on, and him and I shared a couple of dives together, which was absolutely fantastic. And there's one picture in particular that I want to show you now. I mean, that's what it's about right there. Okay, so the next con, the next negative, is the cost, okay? I'm going to tell you right now, scuba diving is not cheap. There is nothing inexpensive about scuba diving. From the lessons, from the certifications, and all the gear that you have to buy. I'm not saying you have to be rich, okay? Obviously, all right? But it can be quite expensive. Scuba gear is like anything else. You know, it goes from, you know, you can go to where it's relatively inexpensive, and you can go top tier. Top tier, you're looking at thousands of dollars for masks, for snorkel, well, not snorkels, but masks, regulators, BCDs, fins. I mean, it can get very, very expensive. I'm very happy with my gear. My gear, I would say, is probably middle of the road. My regulator is a Scuba Pro, and it's really, really nice. I spend a little more on it because, you know, it's kind of important to breathe. But most of mine is, I would say, middle of the road type gear. Nothing really extravagant, but nothing too inexpensive either. So, but again, even though I have all my gear now, which is a strong tendency, once you get certified, you get that itch to want to buy your own gear. I'm just warning you if you're thinking about doing this. But anyway, even when you have your own gear, you still have to pay for dives. You still have to pay for your tanks, which again is not going to be as nearly as expensive as every time going and renting everything every time, but still it is an expense. Which brings us to the second pro of scuba diving. And that is, in my opinion, it is a tremendous hobby to get into because it can add to any traveling that you do. You know, you go on a cruise, okay, which is something, again, that's hopefully Elise and I will be doing a lot of very soon. But you go on a cruise. Imagine how much more fun you're going to have on that cruise if you can book a scuba dive excursion and go experience the wrecks and the tropical fish and the wildlife in the water and so on that cruise. I mean, it's just going to elevate your experience, whether it be cruising or just visiting other places. Once you're certified as a scuba diver, you can scuba dive anywhere in the world. You can rent equipment. You know, you don't have to lug all your gear around. You can find a dive center, you can rent equipment everywhere in the world, and you can scuba dive literally anywhere in the world once you're certified, which is really, really awesome. Which brings us to the most negative, in my opinion, about the biggest knock, the biggest problem with scuba diving. My biggest issue is getting seasick, okay? I suffer from motion sickness already. You know, if I get on a certain ride, if I get on any of these rides where they have screens, and so either I'm moving and the screen is showing, I'm done. I'm going to get sick, which really, it's unfortunate, all right, because there's a lot of great rides at Disney World and Universal that have that, and I can't do them because I'm going to get sick. Anyway, back to the point. If the water is relatively calm, I'm perfect. I'm good. I may still get just a little bit nauseated, you know, with a little bit of the swaying. But for the most part, I'm okay with that. It's if there's some wind or if there's some big waves, which unfortunately for me, there's been 2 or 3 times now where there have been big waves and I've gotten really sick. And of course, it's nothing new to the people on the boat captain, the dive master, you know, the other people on the boat. You know, it is what it is. I mean, they basically tell you whenever they're going over the initial instructions and they're talking about the dive, they'll tell you, if you feel like you got to go, here's where you go, lean over, and as almost all the boat captains say, go for distance. All right? They think it's hysterical. And I've got more stories about that. But that's the worst of me. Now, I will tell you this. There is a little ray of hope about it. Even though you can get really seasick, the good news is once you get in the water, you're perfect. Okay? Once you get under the water, you got your gear on, and you start actually scuba diving, you don't feel sick at all. To me, I can't wait to get in the water if I'm feeling ill. Once I get in the water, everything is beautiful, everything is perfect. So that's good news. You don't stay seasick, okay? Which brings us to, in my opinion, the biggest plus, the biggest positive of scuba diving is the experience. or should I say the experiences. It's hard for me to describe how amazing it is to be underwater 30, 40, 50 plus feet down, and you're seeing wildlife, whether it be eels, whether it be sharks, whether it be amazing tropical fish, schools of fish, and it's just so liberating. It's so amazing. It's so enjoyable. It is absolutely fantastic. I could not recommend it more. If you've never done it, I would say, go snorkeling first and see if you enjoy that. If you enjoy snorkeling, then you can multiply that times probably 1,000 as far as scuba diving. Scuba diving is that much better. So I could not encourage you more. If you're interested in that, again, I would recommend going snorkeling first. If you enjoy that, then I would recommend looking into scuba diving. So there you have it, guys. There's my pros and cons of scuba diving. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please consider subscribing. We've got a lot more planned. We've got a scuba dive coming up very, very soon, as well as some cruises on tap. Thank you very much. Have a great day.